butterfly guard this week, okay? But this is gonna be a little bit looser of a connection. So look at this more of like a seated guard, okay? So really what I mean is, again, reverse E-guard, we're pretty connected here. The butterfly hooks play a very huge part of this. Same with last week when we were in the overhook, okay? Here we can still make those same connections, but it's definitely gonna be way looser without upper body grips. I gave this analogy last night. This is very similar to wrestling actually. Like just being front on with your partner and having all of your robust options versus like tying up with over-unders. Those bring us to more specific games, right? Think about what you would do in front of somebody when you're wrestling. We're looking at a lot of like collar ties, wrist grips, stuff like that. So that's gonna be a huge part of this week. First, okay, let's lead with that collar tie, okay? Now guys, remember when you collar tie somebody, okay, we're not using our hand that's weak, like pull away. Yeah, I don't have a lot of leverage here. I wanna use my forearm, okay, and like really connect strong here. So now when he pulls away, see he's pulling me with him. A lot of people get that wrong, okay? This and this look like the same thing, but they're not. Really use your forearm and bring this in, okay? You need that connection because this guard's so loose, okay? Another grip we're gonna be playing a lot with this week is using like C grips on the elbows here in a lot of different manners, okay? In this manner, just like a lot of other things we do when we wrestle, I wanna look to pass his elbow, okay? So right here with my collar and elbow grip, okay? Strong forearm, clamp right above the elbow where the tricep starts, and we're gonna roll this in, okay? So this is gonna set up yet another variation of the hook sweep, the Sumi Gaeshi, all right? Now, a lot of timing with this one, but if you do it right, this one's even higher impact than the previous two that we did, all right? So as I'm doing all this, as I'm making my grips, I am scooting in close to help load the weight, okay? Essentially what I'm gonna do is I fall to my side like I usually do with the Sumi Gaeshi is I'm gonna move this knee out of the way, and I'm basically gonna bring his head to where my knee used to be with the collar tie, okay? So here, and then here, okay? You see his head kind of goes in that space. So it's essentially like all of those things are happening at the same time. I'm gonna feel that range of motion we've been doing for the last few weeks, okay? Don't just like try to kick your partner. As you scoot in here, get that full range of motion with the hook sweep, all right? So scoot in, clear the knee as I fall, okay? And you'll get a really like high amplitude throw here. Now, the deficit of doing it this way with a collar tie is that I have no upper body grips, okay? So you guys need to like really taper your expectations here. If you sweep somebody and like they're new, you catch them off guard, whatever, and he stays flat, just let go of the head and right away get some form of underhook here, okay? If we're doing this to somebody pretty experienced, expect him to start getting up. And guys, just remember the rule. When he gets up, we just keep our head higher than his, okay? We're hand fighting here. Get my collar tie, get my elbow, scoot in, fall to my side. Big throw here, and then as we come up, right. For both situations, always keep your head higher than your partner, and you have a better shot at winning the scramble. Makes sense? Especially with looser grips like this, if you guys just hold the elbow like however you want, he's gonna post his hand. Okay, first of all, your collar tie, you shouldn't be around the person like this. This is like a hug, okay? This isn't gonna give me any leverage, and this is gonna basically tell him to like squish me here, yeah. When you collar tie, you should be using your forearm and keeping your elbow in front of the collarbone, so now when he comes forwards, see, that's also a frame, okay? Here, to stop that post, okay, when I grab here, guys, this is gonna be big for the arm drag too, which we're gonna do later on. I should be guiding this arm across. So when he goes to post, okay, I mean, I can't hold him there forever, but it's gonna take a long time in the split second that I need to sweep him, okay? Furthermore, okay, just like last week prepared you for the what ifs of this week. If I do this too slow for whatever reason, and again, he starts to like tripod, get up to his feet, again, all the same stuff is gonna work here, okay? The Hizaguruma, we can go to the legs, okay, lots of stuff, all right? A theme week too is like off of this sweep or the many other scenarios that are gonna work. If he does post, that's when we can start to attack the neck as well. Okay, so if you haven't done this before, mechanically we're just putting our hand on the ground, okay? We're using that to heist our hips, just like the technical stand-up in the basics class, okay? And Same as the Sumi Gaeshi, where my knee is, that's where I want his head to end up. So as I come up, I'm bringing his head down, connecting my shoulder to the middle of his back. Okay, I keep this knee down, this leg posted out, so that if Ulysses tries to shoot on me, I'm ready to sprawl. Okay, and snap. Can I pass his head? Yes, but you guys need to pay attention to which side your dominant arm is, especially if you guys want to attack guillotines here. Okay, so there is nothing wrong theoretically about hip heisting, bringing his head down and switching to this armpit. But if that's not your dominant arm for the guillotine, like, you know, you might be out of luck. So just weigh those things. They're both correct. If either one happens in the heat of the moment, it's still going to bring you to the same spot, just with a different arm. Okay. I could look at things like bringing my legs this way, and then using that to snap as well. Guys, if I hit a snap down to front headlock, and I want to look for something like a cow catcher, that's off an underhook. Guys, I'm only going to do that if he's reaching up. Okay, if I get here and like he stays tight, you're not going to hit a cow catcher on anybody good. Okay, but if he reaches up, now I have a cow catcher. Okay. Otherwise, like if you want a game that's centered around cow catchers, like you need to get into those positions already with the underhook, so you have the leverage, or else it's going to be super, super tough. Okay. So guys, for this one, if it feels like, man, I'm getting up, but I'm just a little too close, I can't get my shoulder over the head. Okay, again, we're not sparring right now, but test your distance, scoot away a little bit, and even better, as you scoot away, that's the perfect time to bring the head to the floor. You guys will see you have a ton of space, and it's way, way easier to get up. It's like one of the best times to really hit any sort of snap down is when he really pushes into me. Okay. So if we're talking about those situations, again, where he's driving into me, I can use my guard retention, and I can use that movement to also bring his head to the floor. Want to try a dynamic version tonight? Have your partner like chase you, and then when you're ready, heist and snap him down. A really popular one is if I go to snap him and he starts to come up, I'll actually follow him, get to the side, and then look for ways here. Start bringing his knees together and bringing him through too. 2 ways to do this. Thumb up, okay? Much more accessible, faster, okay? But the downside is that he can pummel his thumb, okay? We could go thumb down, a little more awkward, in a lot of people's opinions a little weaker because my elbow's flared, okay? But the pro is that he cannot pummel as easily. Okay? Guys, you can weigh those things because a lot of guards I've shown you, we worked off of both, right? Okay? Either way, regardless of the grip I make, I'm going to be guiding this wrist across, okay? As I do that, I'm going to look to connect my forearm and my wrist bone to his shoulder, okay? Now, even though that's giving me good leverage, that is not the central part of the movement here. The central part of the movement is going to be me moving my hips around him. Okay? So from here, we're hand fighting. As I get here and I start to pull across, I want to bring him forward as much as possible at the same time. So I'm not going to necessarily do that by just pulling, but I'm also going to use my feet here on the knees. All right? More commonly, the far knee. All right? So as I go here, I'm going to push on the far knee as I bring myself around. Okay? Now, as I bring myself around, I really want to close this space, so I'm going to keep my sternum connected to his shoulder here as I come up. Okay? What a lot of good grapplers are going to do is, as I arm drag him, he's going to post his hands on the floor to build height. Okay? When he does that, we've done this in a lot of different classes. I'm going to put pressure into the wrist, or if you're comfortable with your sexuality, you're going to grab the top of his hand like this. Yeah. Okay? All right. Yeah. And then guys, that's a buffer over his grip. So if Ulysses goes to rise, eventually he will, but that helps me get up faster than him to connect to a good position here. For now, we'll just stick with the one hook in and the seatbelt grip here. Okay? So over here, hand fighting, okay? I'm just looking for a little opening here for the wrist. And guys, very important you guide this across. If you don't guide this across, yep, getting body locked again. Okay? This way, okay? Now, if you want this to be quicker, be primed to be at an angle where you can kick this leg out, okay? So if you're newer to this, you can't move your legs quickly enough, have the opposite knee up. That's gonna help a lot, okay? So we're here, kick this down, okay? This leg comes out, we're turning, okay? And guys, remember, and practice this a few times. If he tries to extend off the mat, hey, keep weight into this wrist, so it's easier to climb up here. We're not really going to get too deep into this week, but there's a multitude of grips at this range that you can utilize. Okay, a lot of stuff we've done in the past, like the burrito grip, 2-on-1, okay? And the arm drag itself can be used to play a normal butterfly guard. Last week here, if we hit arm drags and we end up getting congested here with the hooks, not being able to scoot out, like yeah, we could look for overbacks here. And start to find ways to off balance and sweep with that. Okay, let's say we do that correctly, but you guys went too low to the elbow and he punches this arm back out, okay? If he gets an underhook on me here, okay, we can look to recover back to last week. Okay, so if I arm drag this guy and he starts to post his leg to defend, like yeah, we can look to start to wrestle up. So if you palms and then we're just gonna look for a simple cross power grip. Okay, so it's the same side. We're gonna be going across and nice and high. Okay, I want good leverage here. Okay, most of the movement is done with my hips, but this is gonna guide him. So I want that leverage point to be at his collarbone or higher. Too low, you lose a lot of pulling power here and the ability to go for submissions, which we'll talk about in a second, okay? Now, we're doing a couple things at once, okay? This hand's on the floor. I'm gonna have this foot ready to kick his knee out, okay? It's just gonna open his face here. What this is gonna do when I switch my hips, okay, and I kick his knee out, it's gonna make him come very far forwards, which is gonna give me a big opening here to get behind him, okay? So here, hand on the floor. I'm gonna go from my left hip to my right hip as I extend my right leg. Left hip, right hip, extend my right leg, okay? And as soon as he posts here, what I'm looking to do is bring my chest to his shoulder, okay? We're gonna come up here. It's gonna give me a lot of power and momentum when I switch my hips, okay? I'm gonna do this a little bit faster, okay? So a big hip switch. Okay, see, sometimes we'll even get them to flatten out like this. And then I come up and connect the seat belt. Okay, if he comes back up, knee to the legs. Okay, things like arm drags. Okay, same thing if he pulls away, knee to the legs, all right? Let's look at it now if he's posting on us, right? Okay, we're not really gonna talk about the feet too much this week. Like if he grabs my ankles, okay, that should be pretty easy to settle up with. We talked about breaking grips in the gi too. In my opinion, it's the opposite for no-gi. If he's posting here, it's really hard to attack him with a collar tie. If he just really stiff arms me, yeah, can't get an overhook, can't get an underhook. Like we need to get past these frames. Okay? Just like on feet when we're wrestling, right? So we're gonna use like a wrestling style technique, what we call an elbow pass here. So you guys remember from the beginning of class, we had our fingers down and we were grabbing the tricep here with the collarbone. When we hit this elbow pass, we're actually gonna bring our fingers up and clamp right above the elbow here. Now, your first instinct when you do this is gonna be to wanna just push this arm off. But look, it's not moving, okay? There needs to be a disconnect here. Now it's very simple. All I need to do is, you guys see I still have my hand on the floor. I'm just gonna put all of my weight into that hand and you guys see that hand just starts to slip right off, okay? Now this is gonna be a very quick twitch reaction just like the arm drag. As soon as I lay back and I start to shove this across, okay, I want to kick my feet the opposite direction. Okay. Okay. See that makes an angle here? We're just going to come right up to our knees. It's going to be like more like a bar cigar double leg than a regular double leg with the head on the outside. It's going to go across the body. Ulysses is still mobile here. He could still stand up, step this leg up. Go ahead. Yeah, whatever he wants to do. Yeah, he could get sprawled on. Okay. So guys, the key detail here right away when you get up, do not take this for granted. We are not locking our hands, okay? I'm not just simply tapping his knee. I want to cover his knee. So when you come up, get your whole right side of your body over his leg. If I could, I would put my armpit on top of his knee here. So now if he tries to sprawl, it's difficult. If he tries to stand up, also difficult, okay? So just like when we shoot a regular double leg, we want to have a drive leg so we can keep moving him. That's going to be my outside leg, okay? Now I'm going to use active toes here to circle in and drive them in a straight line. And then from there we can move behind, okay? I can only drive into him so much here. So really at the end there, that's why you want to pick up both feet. So you have a good driving force. I do remember last year when we worked wrestle ups versus a standing opponent. Okay, again, a lot of the same details. A lot of the same wrist grips, and a lot of the same movements here. To start. Okay, I'm leaning back, putting weight into my hands so I can pass the elbow as I kick my legs back. Okay, guys, another reason I'm having you practice it this way is for safety. Okay, whenever you double leg somebody that's on their knees, I never want to see this in class. Do not push somebody over their own knees. You could blow their knees out. Okay, if you're behind somebody in turtle, never rip them straight back. You'll injure their knees. Okay, we're always taking them to the side here. Okay. 1, 2, post, active toes, grind. Especially if you're doing that wrestle up with no setup, as you come up here, he can come up too, and he's gonna sprawl on you, right? If he stays more sideways in this, we've done this before, okay? We can look to do things like hook this leg, start to find ways to lift up his ankle and shelf his leg here. All right, if he gets more front on, like he covers my head with the sprawl, okay? This is, I don't think I've taught this here yet, but something we can look at is what we call a peek out, where we start to step up, okay? Throw our elbow into his and hit a big sit out here. And then start to connect to things like high crotches and start to wrestle up to the top. And this looks crazy, like we're about to do like a bullshit self-defense drill, but in reality, like this is actually pretty smart because this is one of the best setups for a body lock pass. Like if he's able to push my shoulders back and make me post, he's gonna punch those underhooks and get right into a strong body lock, okay? We're gonna make those same grips for the elbow pass, but on both elbows here, okay? So kind of like an L, okay, fingers facing up. And now, guys, look, especially with the thumb post, there's a hook here. So I can't just like aggressively push these straight up or try to pop them. We're gonna do an internal rotation with these grips to make those thumbs disengage, and we're gonna hold on to these, okay? So just like when we did our hook sweep here, we're gonna use this to scoot in, and we're gonna use this to bring him overhead to start to attack his legs, okay? All right, so the difference between this week and last week is I've essentially pulled him into a float pass, okay? Whereas last week, Ulysses had his feet on the floor and he was over us like this. So that's one of the major differences this week that we have to account for, okay? Last week we went here, we kicked through and we got single leg X pretty easily, okay? I'll go ahead and float. All right, here I can definitely do that, okay, if he leaves space between his legs, okay? But let's use this opportunity to go over an important problem we're gonna run into. A lot of times when people float pass to defend their legs, they'll briefly cross their feet here. Okay, and if he crosses his feet, I can't really shoot my leg through. But what I can do on the same side here is disengage my leg. Okay, then I can grab his far leg and then we can come around and lock a triangle here to sit him down. So my lat frame and my butterfly hook are both going to be my right side. That's going to help you guys not get too tangled up here, okay? So, he's posting. Got my thumb posts in, okay? I roll up, I scoot in, I pull him overhead, okay? Right lat frame, right butterfly hook, okay? I start to disengage my left leg. Guys, this is still like other saddle entries in that I have a free hand. Control the leg that you're attacking so he doesn't sprawl or kick this leg out or anything like that. Okay. You guys also see that I'm perpendicular to him when I do this. My head is in a straight line with his hips. So now it's easy to sit him down. Like try to sprawl, do anything. Do not do this from like right here. Okay, how about now? Yes. You're gonna lose that, and honestly that's where a lot of people injure their knee here. So make sure you're perpendicular. Your head is in a straight line with your partner's hips. Now if he tries to do any of that, go ahead. See, I have all the control over the position. Stretch both of your legs, you're gonna lose your butterfly hook, okay? So watch this. All right, so specifically my right leg, as I pass here, okay, I wanna be doing this. If I stretch this leg, yep, that's where I get sprawled on. Okay. If he's grabbing my collars, okay, that's not as big of a deal, but if you haven't done this before, this is worth practicing for other skills as well, okay? You guys are just gonna make what we call a burrito grip on the wrists. Then you're gonna strip up here, okay? I'm mostly concerned about him grabbing my pants, okay? Things like the Sumi Gaeshi, the hook sweep we're using in previous weeks, like it's going to be very difficult when he has control of the machines. When he starts to grip up with me here, it's a very good idea to deal with his grips first and then attack second. Because this is a very strong grip, it's very robust. It's like if I grab and I try to like kick away, see, he stays pretty well attached here. So this is how we're going to deal with this. Let's say I want to go for this hand first. I'm going to post on the opposite shoulder to limit his mobility here. I'm going to go bicep deep to his wrist. Now as I pull his wrist with my arm, I'm going to extend my leg out and then switch my post to this side. Okay? That way it's harder for him to make a solid grip again. Now same thing here. Okay? If it pops off right away, fine, but if he's grabbing on tight, don't worry, I'll do gentle. I'm going to kick away as I pull. Okay? Now, we don't want him to do it again. So guys, you're going to go back to pretty much your default position when you're playing seated guard here, which is having your feet in close, your head forward, and your hands over your legs here. So if he goes to make any grips, I'm ready to hand fight and make my own grips. Okay? So, grabs a collar grip. 1, 2, grabs my pants. Okay? This one's a little more involved. Again, we're in a post on the opposite side we're attacking. Bicep deep, leg goes out, pull and kick. Okay? Then right to a post again if he's grabbing both pant legs. Okay, here, pull and kick, and then hands inside. Okay?